Congress back in session. Its focus is going to be on Republicans' reconciliation package that could have a big impact on Medicaid and other services. Joining us right now on this and President Trump's first 100 days in office. We're almost there. Jake Sherman, Punchbowl's news co-founder. He's also an NBC and MSNBC contributor. Lots to talk about, lots of commentary from over the weekend. Actually, can we start? I don't know where I want to start. I actually want to go back. I know we're going to talk to Scott Bessent, but I'm curious. We're going to talk to Scott Bessent on this broadcast very soon. But I'm curious just what the reaction in Washington actually is to the whole, there is talks with China, there isn't talks with China, and who we're supposed to believe, Jake.
I think there is a quiet, bubbling frustration, Andrew, and thanks for having me, about the status of these negotiations and the status of tariffs and if you ask people in the House and Senate GOP what the goal is, I think there's a lot of confusion. Now, every single Republican I talk to on this issue is willing to give Trump time, including the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. John Thune, the Senate Majority Leader, probably a little bit less so. But I think, listen, I think that they want to see some conclusion to this. I think people are, they believe Trump. They want to believe Trump, and they want to believe he's acting strategically in the nation's interest. But I think there is, as markets seesaw, as they typically do, as they oftentimes do, there is a little bit of frustration, and they want to see some conclusion brought to these trade negotiations.
And how, now, as you think about the budget going forward, how important is nailing down the tariff piece of this first, or do you think that it's not even in the offing anymore?
I don't think it's in the offing. I think a lot of Republicans think that he should have gotten this tax and budget situation out of the way first and then started a bunch of trade fights with foreign nations, because that would have been probably better for the economy in a lot of Republicans' views. But we are where we are, right? And there's no going back on that. And they have a really daunting task ahead of them, which is extending the 2017 tax cuts, passing a whole new set of tax policies and huge cuts to government spending. And they say they want to do it by Memorial Day. I'm extraordinarily skeptical that they'll get it done by Memorial Day. But my base case is still that by August, we will see an extension of the 2017 tax rates. We will see big budget cuts, and we will see this reconciliation bill pass. Now, the challenge politically is this is all wrapped in one package. There's a lot of benefits to that, but there's also a lot of risk, because this is Trump's entire domestic policy agenda wrapped up in one bill. And if you have it in one bill, that's a risk. That's inherently a risk. But I think over the next couple of weeks, and we talk about the first 100 days, but I think the next 100 days are the most important 100 days of perhaps definitely this Congress, but also the Trump presidency, because there's such high stakes. Again, I do think that a basic extension of the 2017 rates, along with the several relatively small new tax priorities that this administration has, it's going to get through. And I think if you believe Republicans, it'll be a big boom to them.
Just so I understand, you say signed by the president in August.
By August, I think is probably right. But I think the big curveball, Andrew, is what happens with the debt limit. The debt limit is racked up in this package, and Treasury this week is expected to give a new updated X date, the date by which the debt ceiling is supposed to be reached, and that will set a new guideline, a new deadline for this process. But I do think by August is probably a good benchmark.
Jake, you mentioned the speakers behind the president, obviously, and Senator Thune as well. Polls that I see on the Republican side are like 80 and 85%. On the Democrats, it's like 90% against. I understand that. Independents, a little iffy. I think it's mostly against at this point. If that stays like it is, does Trump still have the backing of the House? Some of the wayward members of the House that have, were emboldened when if he were to lose some of that popularity, would that embolden Republicans to make it more difficult if they don't get what they want in terms of even bigger cuts? Or you think he can get this done? Does it matter, or are they behind him totally?
I think on the tax and trade, the tax and spending stuff, Joe, they're behind him totally. I think the difficulty is a lot of what you referred to as wayward Republicans are facing a tough reelection in 16 or 18 months, and that's going to be very difficult.
Jake. Depending, maybe all of them are facing it. I mean, the midterm is looming large, but maybe not to the president, because but a lot of the individual members of the House looming large, right?
You hit the nail on the head, Joe. And Richard Hudson, who's the chair of the Republicans' campaign arm, is going to meet with the president today, along with Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, and maybe something will come of that. But the midterms are always a challenging political moment for the president's party, number one. Number two, Donald Trump faces no election on the horizon, and most likely ever. Now, the Trump 2028 thing I don't take too seriously. Maybe I should. But the president doesn't face the same political decision matrix that every House and most Senate Republicans face. And that's just the reality of it. And I think House and Senate Republicans have decided to worry about what they can control, not what they can't control. They can't control Trump. They are heads down trying to get this tax and spending package passed. And they think, I don't know whether they're right or not, they think that'll be the salve, that'll be the big political moment for them. I think that's what they're banking on.
Bless you.
Bless you and amen.
Bless you.
Thank you.
That sneeze, if people wonder.
Andrew sneezed. You tried to hold
I sneeze about basically it's once in the 6 o'clock hour.
I worry about that.
And I hold it in.
I worry about
Try not to get it on the mic.
You're gonna hurt
I mean, but they think that just holding in a sneeze is bad for you.
It is. It puts an enormous amount of pressure.
I think it does. I mean, you're young. If I do it, I have no idea what no idea. But none of it's good.
None of it is good. Jake, just to go back to these tariff negotiations, if you'd indulge me. The other piece that happened yesterday on ABC was this idea, forgetting about the China piece, just how many other deals the president has said are being made as we speak. And yet then there was a skepticism about whether that was really the case. There were some comments made by Scott Bessent that those were, quote, sub-deals, meaning deals within deals, so there really weren't deals, but maybe like deal points. I don't know. How is that being taken by folks? You said frustrated earlier. Do people, I guess the question I'm asking is, I understand people can be frustrated by this situation, just the timing of it all, but do they believe that it's actually happening?
I think most people believe the following, that there will be some sort of memorandum, or some sort of document with broad points that the administration is going to release and say it's a trade deal. Remember, what Donald Trump is trying to do here is not foreign to Washington. Trade deals were cut for years before Trump came into office and after Trump came into office. Trade deals are complicated. They take years to get in place. Now, the question is, does this administration, do foreign nations, do foreign partners release some sort of framework that is short of a trade deal, but adds new complexity or new texture to trade relationships? I think that's what the vast majority of people that I talk to think is going to happen, that there will be some document with many countries, many different documents that lay out the contours of what Trump says are new trade relationships. That's what most people think, and I think that's what we expect on Capitol Hill. That's what they expect, and in D.C., that's what they expect.
And do you expect there will be a 10% tariff across the board?
I do, for the foreseeable future. And someone said to me, a senior administration person said to me that, just buying a bunch more soybeans is not going to cut it, or something like that this time around. I think that's going to have to, something like that is going to have to cut it. I personally don't think that, I think it's going to be very difficult to get a series of, the administration says we'll get 90 new trade deals in 90 days. I don't think something like that is possible. And I don't think that anyone serious in this administration believes that's possible. Just similarly, there's this talk on the tax side about a new tax on millionaires. I think that is also a farce. I don't think that's going to happen. There are still laws of political gravity. Trump could defy some of them. He can't defy all of them.